Hello grade 11s. Today I'm looking at question on page 85, interpenetration and development. We have a square main pipe and we've got a hexagonal branch pipe, and it's joining in horizontally, so in other words parallel to the base. They've asked you to draw the given top view. You'll have to draw the construction in order to get our shape over here, then do the curve of interpenetration here, and they've asked you to develop both of the prisms. So let's get started by drawing the top view of our main pipe, the construction of the hexagon, and then complete the branch pipe. There is my outline for the top view. My square main pipe with a length of 40. From the center line I've projected out and constructed my hexagon with a length of side of 24. I've projected those lines back to touch the main pipe, and it tells me that the length from this edge to the end of the branch pipe is 32. I'm going to go over that now in a dark line. There is the outline done in my outline, and now I'm going to project my lines up to get my front view. I've projected my lines up to the front view, and I'm now going to get my height. I'm now going to also do a construction of my hexagon on the side. Remember, between the views we need to rotate 90 degrees. So what will happen is that the point will be at the top of my shape. There is the outline of what I need for my branch pipe and my main pipe. I'm just going to go over a certain amount of this in an outline, and then we're going to start working on finding the curve of interpenetration. I'm going to label my auxiliary view now. I like to label my highest point as 0 and then go around my shape. Remember, when we label in the top view, we rotate at 90 degrees. So 0 and 6 will become that edge. Now we can find the curve of interpenetration using the theory of 2 points. I'm going to start with my highest points and work to my lowest points. My highest point is 0 and 6. Where it hits the main pipe, I'm going to project that point up. To where it hits point 0 and 6. The next point that I'm going to have is point 1 and 5. Here is point 1. I need to project that up to point 1. Next is point 2. And I need to project that to point 2. Then point 3. There's point 3, and that's where it intersects. Now I'm going to stop there. Why? Because that is what is in front of the turning point and would be the visible part, and I'm now going to go over that in my outline. There is the completed visible shape. Now we're going to work around to find the turning point and our last points 4 and 5. So much like we've done before, what we're going to do is we're going to take where the turning point is. So that's on that edge. Now where does it hit? Because our branch pipe is horizontal and parallel to our base, we can't project where it touches on the side. So what we need to do is use our auxiliary view. So we take that across to our auxiliary view to get the turning points on the auxiliary view. Then we take the distance in our auxiliary view. So I'm going to measure from the turning point 2.5 with my compass. That distance would be the same as the turning point 2.4, and conversely if we rotate it from 0.4 to the turning point. So we now need to go, this turning point was on the line going from 4 to 3. Here's the line of 4 going to 3. So where I measured was from 0.4, so I put my compass at 0.4 and mark towards 0.3. That gives us our turning point. The other side was 5 going to 0.6 or 0 to get the turning point. Do the same thing in my auxiliary view here. 5 going towards 0, mark that off, and there is my turning point over here. Let's match these points up. Project this across to hit my turning point line. There is my turning point at the bottom. Project that across to find the turning point at the top. The last 2 points will be points 4 and 5. So we project points 4 and 5 up from where it hits the branch pipe to where it hits point 4 and 5 on this side. So we're going to have hidden detail going from 0 to the turning point, 2.5, 2.4, back to the turning point, and back to point 3. The hidden detail will also extend going up on the vertical side here. I've projected my height measurements across. Then I've marked off the length of the sides of 40 millimeters each. It's just interfering slightly here with part of that. I want to raise that. And I've labeled them corners A, B, C, D, and back to A, relating to my labeling that I've done here. So what I need to remember that between A and B, there is nothing that needs to be developed, and between D and A, all my hole for this curve of interpenetration is between B, C, and D. What we need to remember when we're doing our development is that we can't take all the measurements off one drawing. So when we have folded our branch pipe out open, we've used the measurements from the top view. So we now need to go to the front view to get our height measurements. Any other measurements we also need to take off the top view to find where point 4 and 5, 0 and 3, and 1 and 2 are. We need that off our top view. I'm going to measure now those measurements off my top view and put them into my development. I'm going to take the measurements from point C and mark off towards point 4 and 5. So that is C going towards B. That's going to give me points 4 and 5. I'm going to come to point D and get my measurement for point 0 and 3. So that's D going towards C. Put my compass at D mark towards C. That gave me 0.0 and 3. Now back at C, and I do this just because I like the bigger measurements. From C going towards D will give me 0.1 and 2. Put my compass then at C, mark it towards D, that gives me points 1 and 2. I'm now going to draw in vertical lines. Following our theory of 2 points, at the moment I have 1 point, my vertical line, so I now need to find my horizontal line. Let's work through this methodically. Start from the bottom and work your way to the top. My lowest point is 0.3, so I need to project this point to the vertical line 3. My next point is 0.2 and 4. Sorry, it's not. The next point is my turning point, so I need to project this to line C. There's my turning point. The next point is line 2 and 4, so I project that to line 4 and line 2. The next point I'll follow up is to 0.5 and 0.1, so I need to project that to cut 0.5 and 0.1. I've got my next turning point, project that to C, and then I have 0.1 and 6, sorry, 0 and 6. And that gives us all of our points, which we now need to join up and put in the fold lines. There is the completed development of our main square pipe. Now we need to do the construction and development of our branch pipe, the hexagonal branch pipe. I've marked off a length of 144, which was my 6 sides times my 24 millimeters. I've marked those off and projected my vertical lines and labeled them. Remember, your labeling needs to match whatever numbering system you've used here. Something to remember is that when the base of the pyramid is parallel to the branch pipe, you can use the measurements of either the top view or the front view, because they will be the same measurement and the true length. If I go and check that, here is 0 and 6, and if I come down to the top view, it will be the same measurement. So that's just a nice check to see whether you're using the true length or not. If they were different, chances are you've used the wrong method. So let's carry on and mark that off now. I've taken my height at 0 and I transfer that to 0 and 0 on the other side. Next I'm going to 0.1 and 2. If you wanted to, you could check. Here's 0.1 and 2 and mark off points 1 and 2. Next, points 3 is the base of my prism here. Mark that off at 3. Go to point 4 and 5. 4 and 5 on the same line, so it'll be the same measurement. The last thing we need to do is find the turning point. So with this we need to go to the auxiliary view. Now generally our auxiliary view has been in the top view here, so we need to get the distance to find where the turning point is on this side between 4 and 3 and 5 and 6. Take one of those measurements. So I'm taking this distance from 0 going towards 0.5 and mark it off. That's also going to happen at 3 going to 4. Drawing the vertical line. Now take the measurement. Generally come and take that from the front view is your best option, just to make sure you get used to that, and mark that off. There we have all the points, and we can join them up in our outline. There is the completed outline view of my branch pipe development, and that is the end of drawing 85.